This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.
Oh,
I've not read it.
Hello, and welcome.
Hello.
We are there. Oh, everybody's in the wrong place.
Everybody's in the wrong
Didn't you check before we started?
Yeah, but
rather than updating your computer.
But for some unknown reason, the small
Oh, yeah,
one.
no, here comes the excuses.
For some unknown reason, the little one.
Due to the fact that the moon was the seventh crescent.
There you go. Right, that's fine. And that's fine. Okay then, we're fine. We're all done. Hello and welcome. Welcome to this week's episode of Mythras. We had a break last week, but we are back this week, and then we're off next week, I think, and then we're back again. So the party finished off an adventure last time. And
do the hokey cokey and we
don't make me mute you. just don't make me mute you. I seem to be a bit weird in my box.
Oh, we've known that.
So does Chugga Wugga. Have you been on the Amber Nectar today, Chugs?
No. Well, I've just popped up.
Happy. Oh, look at that, 1664. That's what time we were supposed to start, by the way, everybody.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, we finished off an adventure last time we played, and I will quickly recap on that. But the players are ultra excited. They're totally hyped because it means that to start off today, they get to spend experience rolls, if anybody wishes to, but also they get to start a new adventure. So before we start off and engage in synopsis and storylines and experience rolls, I'm going to allow the players an opportunity to say who they are and the character they will be playing tonight. And as always, we start off with the person down there.
Am I in the right box?
Yes, you are.
Hi guys, I'm Chugga in the right box, and I shall be playing this evening Gulliver, the apprentice sorcerer, apprentice in the Order of the Kraken, one of the 4 sorcery orders on Odys, youngest member of the party, smallish, ginger, not very strong, fairly fast, really good talking to people and judging people's intentions. As a sorcerer, he has the ability to shape his spells into how he wants them to be cast. He can increase the range, the power of them, the number of targets that they'll affect. He can even combine several spells into a single casting, although it does make it harder. He also has lesser spells, drop my pen, sorry, called cantrips, based on the folk magic school in Mythras, which he has as well. And that's me, yes, Gulliver. I shall pass on, because he's just messing about with stuff. Medivac.
I did that on purpose, but it was too slow getting the unmute button. Hello, everybody. I'm Medivac, and I play Hazri Khan. He's a nomad. He is from the northern part of Odys. He's a tracker, a hunter, and he's the group scout. He likes to use a short spear, and when he's not available, he loves to use his scimitar. He's not the brightest, but he is one of the most agile in the group. He does like to protect people. The person he likes to protect the most is Bartleby, because he really looks up to Bartleby. Just one of those things. He thinks he's wonderful. Amriel, the things that she does to him is amazing. He has joined a brotherhood, and he's the brotherhood basically looks after or records the balance of nature and how things affect certain areas, or all areas, should I say. He loves being outdoors. He hates cities. He's uncomfortable in cities. He'll go in them. He'll be with a group, but he's not comfortable there. He's completely out of his comfort zone. And with that, I shall pass on to Longshank CPG.
Thank you very much, Medivac. Hi guys, I'm Longshank CPG, and tonight I'm playing Hengist. He is the group's warrior, clad out in heavy armor, sword, shield, averagely intelligent, fairly big. As when I say big, as in big, muscular, strong, because he swings a sword around all day, and that's his prime purpose in life. Short and sweet, I'll pass it on to Pickles.
I'm Mr. Pickles, and I play our group's theist, Bartleby Fumus, serving the goddess Amriel, who lights up darkness, provides energy and healing to those who call upon it in need. Bartleby is able to work through her some folk magic prayers and some theism miracles. And the prayer section is more of minor healing, lighting candles from a distance, sharpening blades with the power of her majesty, protecting against spirits, repairing things, protecting people, energy, seeing the truth. And under miracles, he's more capable of putting limbs back on people, curing diseases, plagues, poisons, keeping people able to walk up a mountain without breaking a sweat for hours on end, and protecting himself from bodily harm. He's capable of many miracles through Amriel, but through his own skills, he's somewhat of a decent merchant. He's passionate about monsters and learning about monster stories, and he's our group's historian overall. That's Bartleby Fumus, servant of Amriel. Pass it on to you, inwils.
Fantastic. So before we sort of do the synopsis and anything like that, I just wondered if anybody was spending experience rolls or not spending experience rolls. I thought we can get that out of the way first, and so it's all done. I do believe that Hengist got 4 from the last thing. Yeah. And Hasra and Bartleby and Gulliver, you got 7, I think. Yeah. So is anybody spending rolls, and then I can work out times and how long we're going to rest between the sessions. How long has passed since last time? So Gulliver, we'll go around the same way as you introduce people. So Gulliver, are you spending any of your experience rolls?
You're muted, Gulliver.
Muted. Oh, muted.
Muted.
I was typing in Discord when other people were doing their bits and bobs, so I muted myself. Yes, my longest thing to take into consideration is a new spell. I'm taking a new sorcery spell, which I believe is a month.
Yeah.
And the spell that I'm taken is a project sense again, and this time it's project hearing.
Right, so you can already project sight, can't you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this will allow you to combine them if you wanted. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And then project them together, or just listen behind a door or something like that. Yeah.
I have 9 experience rolls because I saved some from last the session before last as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
So that's 5 experience rolls, leaving me with 4.
Yeah, Cool.
I then want to start putting some rolls into my invocation. My intelligence is 14. My invocation is currently 95.
Ooh.
Oh!
That 90 that or above is fine. Yeah. So So it's your score or above. I'm sure it is.
Go.
Yeah.
1
Is
plus
it close to
1.
100?
No, I don't want to go to 100. I want to go to 99. I want a 4. Yes!
99. Just to say, when you do hit 100, it means that normally you fumble on a 99 or 100. If you actually get to skill 100, then you only fumble on 100. You don't fumble on a 99 and 100. So that's fantastic. That's 99%. So the only time you will actually fail casting a spell is a fumble.
And then I get 1% onto it.
Yeah, exactly. To take it up. Yeah. So that's 5, 6. Is that 6 gone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So my next one is going to be in folk magic.
Okay. What?
So my folk magic is currently 72. So that's plus 1.
Yeah. So 73. That's 7 gone.
Oh, I forgot what I had then. Oh, hang on. Let me. Oh no, everything's gone to pot. I forgot what my training thing was, and now I've clicked on something else. I'm gonna have to work it out. And then I'm going to put another one into that. That's 5, 6, 7. This is number 8. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're currently at 73 with that one.
Okay. So I want to roll that one.
Yeah, 1d4 plus 1.
So another 3. So that's 76. I'm at, yeah.
Yeah, 76. Trombones led the big parade. 110.
Okay, and then I'm going to put 1 into shaping when I find it.
Ooh, nice one. Because if you started to combine the spells together, then...
So my shaping's at 71 currently.
Okay then. Oh yes, that's plenty high enough.
Oops.
No, a 1d4 plus 1. It goes up by 64.
That's 4 on that.
4 on that. And that will be your experience rolls completely taken out. Yeah. Okay, Hazra, we're coming over to you.
No problem. Yeah, I've got 7. I'll be using 7. I'm going to do 1 into athletics.
Okay.
Which is currently 84. My intelligence is 12.
Cool.
So we want a 1d100 plus 12. I need. Sorry, my apologies.
Well, no, you can add 12 onto that. That'll just make 99. So 1d4 plus 1.
It's going to be 3.
Yeah.
So plus 3 on there. So I'm going to put 2 into my combat.
Okay then. So here's the first one. What's your combat skill at the moment?
We go. Sorry, that's what I need to do. My combat skill at the moment is 81.
Ooh.
I know.
We need some high rolls then.
Plus 12. Here we go. Nope. So that goes by 1.
Yeah.
So that makes it up to
82.
2. And then again. And that's
83.
So.
And 3 rolls down.
Perception. And my perception at the moment is 78.
78.
So that will go up by 1.
1. Yep.
My stealth, which is 72.
Okay.
Text message.
Now 73.
73. So 1 on that.
So that's 5
I need
gone.
to oil that. Tracking, which is 76. Sorry. 98. There we go. That's even better.
That is. Yeah, so 1d4 plus 1.
Oh.
That's
One
a big
bit of
5. Yeah.
So 5 onto there. And my last one is my endurance.
Which is currently
77.
77.
Do I get a fumble for that 100?
No.
So that goes up by 1.
Yeah.
And that is me done. Thank
Fantastic. So over to Hengist. How would you like to spend yours, if at all?
So I have 4. I'll be sending all 4. So the first one that I'll be spending it on is my main combat style, so Housecarl, which is currently 87.
87. Okay.
Nope. So
that's 88.
60. I'll put a second one in that one as well. So I've got to get 88. Yes.
Yes. 1d4 plus 1.
1d4 plus 1. No, enter won't do it.
2. What does that take it up to? Is that
it's on 90 now.
90. Nice. 2 rolls down.
So I was then going to put 1 into my endurance.
Okay. What's currently your endurance?
So my endurance currently is 78.
78.
Nope. So that makes it 79.
79.
And then I will put my last point again into my combat style.
Okay.
So I've got to get 9 more. Nope. So that's 91.
91. Brilliant. So that's you all done. So across to Bartleby now. How would you like to spend your skill rolls, if at all?
I'm spending all of them, and they're all going on skills that I already have.
Okay. Cool. How many how many experience rolls do you have? Just like
7. I
7.
spend them all as I get them.
Okay then. Cool. Okay then. So experience roll 1 is going on
Healing.
healing.
It's at 49. Here is my D100 plus 14.
Oh no! So that'll go up to 50.
Yes. And then my next 2 are going to be for folk magic.
Okay.
Which is at 66.
66.
Oh, yeah.
It's now at 67.
And here is the second one.
It's now at 68.
Next 2 are for exhort.
Okay.
Which is at 67 right now.
Which is, just for people who are watching, that's what Bartleby uses to cast his spells. That's nice. That's nice. So 1d4 plus 1.
Thank you. Thank you.
2.
A big 2. And then the next one is for exhort.
Nice.
Which is another success.
Obviously, Amriel is looking down on your exhort rolls. Another plus 4 to that. Nice.
Awesome. And then the last 2 are going to be on devotion. Okay. Devotion's at a 70.
Okay. It's now at 71.
Oh, that's glorious. My intensity, it's so much higher now. All right, 71. Last roll.
Yes, 1d4 plus 1.
Yeah.
4.
4.
75 is that? Yeah. Okay then, that's absolutely brilliant. So before we do anything else, allow me to do a quick synopsis of what happened last adventure. So remember, you are hanging out in Lindo. Hengist actually has a house on the hill. I'll just move you across to the Odes map, Lindo map. So up here, this is where Hengist lives in his posh house. And Hazra has a small cabin outside of the town, in an environment that he feels a little bit more secure and happy in. Gulliver is part of the Blue Order, or the Order of the Kraken, so he has accommodation and at his Order's house. And Bartleby, of course, being a theist, a cleric, has board and lodges paid for him at his church, dedicated to the goddess Amriel. So last adventure, the party were hired to protect a guild mistress who was visiting Lindo. Various things happened on that trip. they found out that the guild mistress was quite a hoity person, but then turned out to be quite nice. They found out that the people they trusted, their employers, were actually the people that they shouldn't have been trusting. They also found out that there were several decoys, so when the guild mistress actually did die once, they were lucky. There was some wonderful engagement with carriages and tailors, which, if you haven't seen it, it's well worth going back and watching the actual play, just to see that happening. But in the end, they successfully rescued the guild mistress who they were protecting. I think the party worked really well at that time. There were spells cast, combat lurched into. They ended up they didn't pursue, or if they did, they lost their two employers, who was Boris Beckoncall and Eliza Elsmouth, I think her name was. Was it?
It was Eliza Elmsworth, yes.
Elmsworth, that's it, yeah. And you also, if you remember, came across the head of the Thieves Guild in Lindo. Do you remember that at the end? And his name was Sniffer. Now, you have spent a month, haven't you? It will be a month in between.
Yeah, because of Gully's spell.
Brilliant.
That's the longest time it takes him in a month.
Right. So the first thing I need to do is just call up my calendar, because we will need to change the month, won't we? Because it's still autumn. And we are going. We're going into the month of Neth, and the month of Neth is when, almost like, if I can just alter my. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. I thought it was. The month of Neth is the month that. Sees out autumn. It's almost like the tail end of autumn then goes into winter. So autumn is well and truly on its way out. But at the present moment in time, there's no snow on the ground or anything like that at the moment.
But winter is coming.
Very much so. And you can feel that that coldness in the actual air. So it's something that you're probably being aware about. So is there anybody would like to say or do anything before we start the adventure?
Nothing from me.
Okay.
No.
Right, so just remember, Hengist and Hazra, you need to reduce your lifestyle cost. It'll be, I think in the book it gives you for weeks, a day's weeks, so just do 4 weeks and that's it. Bartleby and Gulliver, I was talking to you beforehand in Roll20 before the game started, and if you can decide how much your board and lodgings are free, but you're probably spending something, either giving it to charity, going out. Or now that Bartleby's had a vow of chastity, he's not actually going out and courting anymore. But Gulliver, you might, or you'll be going out. Say again, sorry?
You never know.
Well, there's that barmaid he likes in the...
Yeah, and you are 18 now. Well. You are 18, aren't you? And remembering this sort of like medieval style, a lot of children reach sort of like working age, etc., about 14. So you're well into, well, technically now you are a man, and then that's it. So with the approach of winter, there's definitely it brings that cold damp weather. That fine drizzle that just sort of like hangs in the air, and as you walk through it, you know, it clings to your cloaks and your clothes and sort of like makes you very damp. It's not pelting down, it just seems to almost like hang in the air as it drizzles. Fires have started to be lit within the town, and in the evenings and early mornings, because as the sun is rising later and setting earlier, and mornings and evenings are often accompanied by that low hanging mist that just sort of like hangs in the streets, not blocking out everything, but just sort of like rising gently from the road, and just sort of like making it interesting, because as people walk backwards and forwards, you don't see their feet, but as you walk on it, it sort of like swirls round, and this is quite normal. And there's lots of people talking about whether or not they've got enough food, whether or not they've got enough water and goods to last them through the winter month, because winter will shortly be embracing Lindo, which normally means colder nights, colder days, colder everywhere, and that increase in lifestyle costs as you're trying to keep warm, and sort of like making increase your food intake to keep your temperature up. So yeah, it's a quite a dull part of the year, and people are settling in for that long winter. There might be snow, and if it does, the outside farms are normally cut off from Lindo, and only the brave or the foolish venture out from the city walls in the winter months. And as has been accustomed for you people, you adventurers, you normally agree, you know, at the end of a month, you probably decide that a month off this time, after being led up a garden path by your employers last time, you decide that, you know, a month is good enough time, and you go off and you deal with your accounts and your personal business and your worshipping and your learning and your training, and you arrange to meet in the Hairy Hobgoblin at the beginning of the next month, at the start of month of Neth, which so it's the third of the month, and you all make your way down to the Hairy Hobgoblin and settle in at your usual table, that table that you often frequent. There's almost like mulled wine, warm mead to be drunk, and there's quite a big fire that's sort of like burning in the Hobgoblin, keeping everybody warm, because as they get warm, they like to order and eat, and almost like increase Basil's Earless's income. And as you settle down at the table, you all arrive, and you suddenly realise that Bartleby is not actually at your table at all. And you sort of like
I thought he was serving behind the bar there.
yeah, he comes out. He comes out with a pinny on. 2 soups.
Holding 2 drumsticks. I know those hands.
Yeah. So I need a drink now. Bartleby, you were at your church and staying a little bit later than you had thought, mainly administering to the poor, making sure that people are warm, handing out extra blankets, etc. And you realise that you're late, and you throw on your cloak, and maybe pop up the hood. And as you leave your church and go out into the street, you notice that there's this low hanging mist there, and as people walk, it sort of like swirls around your feet, and you sort of like pull your cloak tighter around you, and sort of like almost like look at the ground and sort of like start walking purposefully through the streets, heading towards the Hairy Goblin and your meeting. And as you really want your bed, but you know that you have to do this meeting, and you sort of like set off through the mist, tired, worn out from the day's worship, and you're sort of like moving, and you're only about 30 seconds, not even a minute, away from the church, when you hear somebody call your name. They seem to call out, "Mr. Bartleby."
I'm gonna whip around, trying to hold the light of Amriel in my heart to see who's accosting me in the streets.
Yeah, just make a perception roll for me.
I would love to. Good old perceptive Bartleby.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm gonna
Amriel sees all.
so it's all downhill from now. Yeah, so you sort of like look around and straining your eyes into the darkness, because the torch lights are on now around the town, and there's lanterns on hooks, and you turn around and sort of like peer into the shadows, and quite a woman detaches herself from the shadows and she sort of like takes a step forward, and she seems to be in what can only be called as slum gear. She seems to have several layers on of several different types of clothing, and there's several they all seem to be dirty and mismatch, and she seems to be wearing what appears to be a headscarf, and the nearby lantern sort of like blinds you from actually seeing her face, but she sort of like reaches out a hand, and you see that she's sort of like doing she has like fingerless gloves on, and you don't think they were actually made that way. You think that they're just worn out, and she calls out again, and she says, "Mr. Bartleby, I need your help."
Do I recognize this person's voice at all, or demeanor?
No, not at all. It's you. She could have been, somebody that you've administered to, or not. Let's face it, most slum people look the same. Same dirty clothes, but she seems to be. Yeah, I'll give you it via your critical. Gulliver leans in close to Hengist and whispers, "I'm going to sit next to you because Hasra smells a wet dog." Yeah, so she seems for critical. You almost like notice that her eyes are reddened, as if she's been crying or something. Yeah, what would you like to do?
Well, Bartleby's just going to trust her. Seeing crying eyes, he doesn't think she's a thief in disguise about to stab him. So he'll approach and say, "What can I help you with?"
And as you get closer, you smell the familiar smell of the slums, and she sort of like and getting closer, you can see she has been crying, and she has what probably was once some kind of white material, is probably a handkerchief or something like that she keeps mopping her eyes, and she sort of like as soon as she starts to tell you, you notice that the sobs start to well up again inside her, and she sort of like says, "Mr. Bartleby, I really need your help."
What's wrong? What's going on? Do you need a cure, or have you been poisoned? Is your child sick with disease?
No, Mr. Bartleby, but it's about my daughter.
What's going wrong with your daughter?
She's dead, Mr. Bartleby. She's dead.
I see. Well, I can talk to my superiors about getting some funeral rites done for your daughter. I'm not exactly trained in that. Field within the church, you know.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bartleby. Her body has been passed on. It was some weeks ago. I just don't know what to do about it. She was my Rose, and my Rose is now dead. She's dead. A horrible death, Mr. Bartleby, a horrible death.
Well, I'm deeply sorry for your loss. It's never a pleasant thing to lose those who are very dear to us.
And she was butchered, Mr. Bartleby. She was butchered.
By who?
Well, that's why I need your help, Mr. Bartleby. 2 days ago she was found. Dead, bleeding, almost ripped to shreds, Mr. Bartleby. And the city guard has no love for us. They don't care about my daughter, about my Rose. She's just they won't even find the people who are responsible for this. Please, Mr. Bartleby. And she reaches out and almost like grabs any part of your body that is closest to her, in a sort of like maybe your wrist, maybe your hand, and she sort of like grabs it. The immediate sensation is the coldness. It's obvious that she's been out in the cold and probably waiting in the shadows just to see you, Bartleby, to leave the church. I've been told you are a good man. I know my Rose has left this world and is hopefully in a better place. But please, I need to know. I just need to know.
Don't worry. We will do our best. Perhaps you'd like to come with me. I'm heading to the Hairy Hobgoblin right now. My cohorts are there.
And
you may have heard of our place.
As soon as you sort of like mention her going with you, she sort of like releases you and steps back. No, I have to go back to where I belong. Can you help me, Mr. Bartleby? Will you help me?
Yes. What is your name? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
My name is Marigold.
Marigold? And what was your daughter's name?
Rose.
Well, we will find out what happened to your daughter. Is there a place I can find you when we found the answers, the truth?
I can take you there. The place where Marigold was. When Rose was taken from me.
That would probably be wise. It would help in our search.
Please, Mr. Bartleby, you will help, won't you? You will help me.
Yes, Amriel will reveal the truth to both of us.
I need to go now, but I can meet you here tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes, the same time.
Yes, that'll be fine, Mr. Bartleby. Thank you. And she reaches out and grabs you again, and sort of like clings to your hand, and then she goes, oh, one moment, Mr. Bartleby. And she sort of like pulls back several layers and eventually comes across what appears to be a cloth that has been, all the corners have been pulled up and stuck into her belt. And she sort of like takes out, and as she takes it out, you hear it jingle slightly, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 5 coins in the little bag. She says, "This is all I have, but please, if you could find out who did this to my Rose, then I will be so grateful to you." And she sort of like hands it out to you.
I'll put up a hand to push it back and say, no, Marigold, it would be my honor to help find the truth, bring justice.
You are such a good man, Mr. Bartleby. You are so good. I will meet you here tomorrow at this time, and I can take you to the place, if that's what you wish.
I think that would be best.
Okay. Thank you once again, Mr. Bartleby. Thank you. And she sort of like turns round and pulls her cloaks back around her and scuffs off down the cobbles around a corner and leaves you alone in the mist-filled road. Yeah,
I would like to go to the Hairy Hobgoblin while mumbling to myself about thinking that Rose was just a nickname. Dang it, Bartleby. Dang it.
Make us say the name of a dead daughter as many times as
I know.
Sorry, what was her name?
Sorry, could you just tell?
This is why I'm not learning the later rites. I'm just terrible at a funeral. I can't.
What? When she said, "My poor Rose," what did you think her daughter was? A rose?
I thought that was like a nickname, or like her beautiful Rose, or
like Petal,
not like an actual name. And then I thought it was gonna be like Patricia, her beautiful Rose. Like,
could have been a short name. Could have been Rosemary.
I was hoping for a last name, but then I don't know if she could afford one.
It's not likely that they would have like surnames, not.
So I didn't push it.
Yeah.
Rose, daughter of Marigold.
Yeah. So yes. Is there anything you would like to do before you actually make your way to the Hobgoblin?
I'm gonna say no because it's late and Bartleby already wanted to go to bed, but he's got some excitement now to share with his friends. Not really excitement, just tragedy.
Yeah, and you arrive at the Hobgoblin. You notice that some of them are sort of Bartleby arrives. Group. What would you like to do? What would you like to say?
Bartleby, you're late, my friend.
Oh, I guess I am a little bit late. I didn't think you guys would notice. There was a lady outside the temple.
Not another one. I thought you put all that behind you.
I have. I know Bria's never coming back. In fact, I've accepted that.
Maybe.
No, Amriel, I've accepted that. She's never coming back, and it's just a distraction. But this is a different thing. There's a lady waiting for me outside of the church after all of the worships and the charitable healings, and she said she needed my help. And you guys know I can't do things of heroic nature without the help of you. Well, we're best as a team.
What is it? Is it a dragon slaying? Ogres,
Close.
trolls, an army of the dead.
Well, no,
Is it Bartleby?
Well, the lady's
It's not
daughter.
more frogmen, is it?
No, not frogmen. No.
Goblins! It's goblins, isn't it? That's why you're so excited.
Well, it would be really nice if it was goblins. Back when we were fighting goblins in the woods, stopping their foul summoning. Those were good times, Gulliver. Good times. But no. Her daughter, this lady's daughter, was killed. Her face was butchered, and she wants us to help find out what happened.
What do you mean she was butchered?
I don't know. It was a little difficult to understand. She was sobbing quite a bit, and she looked like she had been out there a long time in the cold. I tried to get her to come back here because I know you guys have, more of an inquisitive mind sometime. But she didn't want to come here for some reason. So I'm meeting her tomorrow so that she can show me where her daughter was murdered. They found the body 2 days ago.
Well, what was she like, Bartleby?
The lady just said butchered.
No. Bartleby, have you been drinking so much new wine again?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
The lady that spoke to you.
Oh, the lady. Sorry. I've been
What's a dead person like?
Don't make me mute you.
She was wrapped in a lot of clothing that you might see in the lower class areas. Dirt, scarf around her face. It was pretty difficult to tell what she looked like, and I could actually see her.
I mean this in the nicest way, Bartleby. I'm Gulliver, and sometimes you can be gullible. Was she? Did she seem sincere?
Well, she was crying, so I'm gonna say yeah. People don't cry unless they're feeling sad or happy.
I was just thinking that, you know, after the problems that we had with Sniffler, was it Sniffler?
Sniffer.
Sniffer.
And if he wanted to get you alone somewhere,
I've just made a paranoid party, haven't I?
the easiest way to do that would be to play upon your good nature.
But her hands were cold. She'd been out in the cold for a long time. So who would suffer for something like that? Someone as lowly as me.
To be fair, Bartleby, my friend, your hands are the first thing that get cold on the outside. So, she could have been there for 20 minutes and her hands would be cold.
That's true. Well, that is true. And she was hesitant to come back here, and I would have paid for her drinks and food.
Yes, I mean, you exactly. You'd brought her here to feed her, keep her warm.
Well, I've promised her that I'm going to meet her tomorrow.
You can't go alone, Bartleby.
I was hoping I wouldn't. I was hoping you guys would come along so we could find out the truth. But now I feel like there might be a different truth that I wasn't even suspecting all along.
Where did she meet you?
Right outside the temple, maybe a couple dozen paces away.
And where did you say that you would meet her?
Same spot, same time, a different day.
At when it's dark, Can I just pop that? not
Yeah,
not 10
late
o'clock
enough
in
that
the
I'm feeling
morning.
tired.
But
It does seem a bit weird, Bartleby. I mean, surely if people were getting butchered in Lindo, then surely people would know.
Did she tell the city guard about this? Because I mean,
Yes.
perhaps if she did, maybe Hengist here could go and talk to them, because he's very, very friendly with the guard, and they would be able to confirm that somebody was butchered that night.
somebody enters the tavern through a squeaky door.
Oh,
It'll be oiled for next time, I promise.
She did mention the city guard wasn't helpful to people like her. I just assume that's because the guard can tend to be a little bit pragmatic about who they help. People with more money are more.
I totally agree. It's just disgusting how you city folk treat each other. But you would have thought that if somebody had been butchered in an alleyway, then the guard would know about this. It's not something you say, oh no, another one being butchered. Pop them in the corner.
Gulliver or Bartleby, you can roll your streetwise skill for me.
oh,
Throw my streetwise down.
boom.
Yeah. So, are you looking, Gulliver?
No.
No.
Thank you very much.
Bartleby, you know that the city guards don't take a lot of notice down in the slums. Loads of people actually die there, on a regular occurrence, either from starvation, too much drinking, thugs in the street. The city guard are more responsible for anything inside the gate. If somebody got killed outside the Hairy Hobgoblin, then they would be interested. But Count Bastian, he doesn't want to lose men and women by sending them into the slums to investigate. You think the slums, the slums are basically run by the thieves guilds and various crime groups, etc.
It's really the biggest issue that I have with the city guard. And I try to talk about them getting some justice down there, but I think this is a case where they're not going to help us, and perhaps we can deliver some justice.
No, I think there's no harm in talking to her, but I just think if she's going to be leading us down to the old dock area or something like that, I just think that we need to be very careful, Bartleby.
Yeah, and if we see Sniffer, we should truly smite him off of this land. He's an evil, evil man.
Tomorrow then. Shall we meet up? Shall we meet up here before we head off?
That should be workable, but if I don't make it in time, meet me outside the temple. I'm not sure how long worships will take. Like today, they took a little longer.
Right.
Okay then. So the plan: you probably stay at the Hobgoblin for the rest of the evening. You drink some of the mulled wine or water, or depending what you drink, and you enjoy a good bite to eat from Basil's cooking. And
Gulliver wants to get a bit of cloth and get some of the bones that are left over if we have something like chicken or something like that, and he'll rub it up. And before he goes, I'm going to give it to Hazra and say, "This is for your dog, Hazra."
But I do not have a dog, Gulliver.
Does your dog bite?
You don't have a dog?
No, Hazra. When have you ever seen me with a dog?
I just thought that you kept him in the forest with you and didn't bring him in.
No. No, sorry.
Okay, so you finish off and Gulliver hands Hazra some bones for his dog if he wishes to take them, and you head back to your usual sleeping arrangements, and you wake up a little bit later the next day, and so the sun has already risen, but it's one of those sunny autumnal days, so even though the sun is shining, it's still quite cold and damp, and you can see clouds threatening rain coming in from the coast, as if there's, it's coming across the seas and heading towards you. And yeah, is there anything anybody would like to do through the day before you meet Bartleby's employer or old lady on the evening? I'm just giving you an opportunity, otherwise we can just move straight to that time.
I have one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I wanted to check with my sources, those maybe people at the church or people I know in the lower class areas, see if anybody knows anything about the lady I met. Marigold, Rose, those names ring a bell to anybody?
Okay then, so you probably got time to do both. One will be a streetwise skill, and the other one will be a devotion skill. So you can choose which one you would like to do first.
I'll do the devotion one first.
Okay. Okay, and what about the and your streetwise skill as well?
Pow. Oh, that's okay.
Okay. With the church, there's not nobody seems to recognize them, and this woman either by name or her and her daughter, and you're almost like disappointed with the clergy, because they almost like are saying, oh, you shouldn't bother yourself with people like that, Bartleby, we administer to them, but you have a calling, a higher calling, and you shouldn't sort of like be they're almost like dismissive of it, as if you've committed a mortal sin of some description to sort of like talk to them, or outside administering to the poor. It's almost as if the church does it because they have to do it, rather than do it because they want to do it. That's an important difference. You, with your streetwise, you probably go to, what's her name who owns the tavern? Melissa, yeah. You probably go to Melissa and sort of like ask her about it, and Melissa meets a whole load of people from the slums, and she knows quite a lot of people, but for example, she knows Sniffer by sight and by reputation, but she hasn't heard of Marigold or Rose. She did hear that there was that a girl was killed 2 days ago, and that was she didn't realize it was somebody called Rose, and she sort of like puts two and two together to sort of like see that it's probably the same girl. But she does say that, as you will be aware, dying in the slums is nothing actually new. There's nothing new about that. It's just how it happens. Apart from that, that's the only information you gain. What about Hengist, Hazra and Gulliver? Is there anything that you would like to do either with this adventure or anything else?
I want to buy a dog for these bones. No, I don't.
Right, okay then. What about Gulliver and Hengist? Is there anything you guys would like to do?
If Gulliver wanted to find out some information on the streets, maybe putting around a few silver coins, in the slum area, to see whether or not he could find out any stories of what might have happened to.
Gulliver doesn't. I know.
I don't have any contacts or anything.
No, but what I was trying to sort of like figure out in my head was that I know that Bartleby frequently frequents the slums when he's administering to poor and things like that. Is Gulliver's Streetwise to do with the slum area, or is it more to do with the city area?
Gulliver's Streetwise is more to do with where things are located in a city, sort of like, finding out, where the rich part is, and and sort of like moving around the city more than just being centered in one area.
Okay, then. So, I mean, I'm not too sure whether or not you do you want to go up to sort of like random people and ask them, or I'm just thinking what the process would be, rather than just saying roll your Streetwise skill.
Well, I was thinking more of like going down to the slums looking for, say, like an older beggar or something like that. Somebody that people would talk to, somebody who's been in the city a long time, who sort of like might know what's happening.
Okay, then. So you don't frequent the slums a lot at all. No. So you sort of like head down there and just roll for me, please, an influence roll. Yeah, you sort of like, I mean, I assume you're dressed in your normal everyday gear, and people sort of like they're almost like looking at you as if you're too clean to be in the slums. The way you walk, the way you look, doesn't sort of like exude slumness. While Bartleby's often there administering to the poor, and so he's probably known, you're less so. And you probably dish out a few silver coins to try to, help the conversation along. But you find that most of your questions are met with either disdain or dislike, or you see them as almost like a wild goose chase, as if they're just sort of like fabricating stories in order to get more money from you. And you do notice that after a while they sort of like talk for a while and then stop, and the woman goes, "If you want to hear more," and you sort of like decide. The first couple of people you give out more silver to, and they just seem to go off this rambling storyline, and you're quite aware that you're an intelligent sorcerer, and you figure that they're literally leading you astray rather than helping. And after a while, you just sort of like don't give any money out, and you sort of like think, okay, then slummy people. You sort of like think maybe lead the slum area to Mr. Bartleby, who seems to have some kind of connection in there. Is there anything Hengist would like to do?
Hengist will, knowing that we're going back into the slums, he wants to go into sort of like the market area. He won't haggle. He just wants to try and find a cheap either cloak or poncho-y type.
Yeah, you can
some clothing.
Yeah, you can find that. Just remove it.
Quite a sort of like cheap low end one, and then once he's got that, he will sort of like when he gets back to his house, he'll find a bit of dirt or sort of like some ash or something and scuff it up to make it look particularly rough and ready. So when he's in the slums, he's not going to stand out as much.
Yeah, and you can do that. So just take off from your money the standard cost of a cloak or robe or whatever it comes under. Okay then, so it's about 7 o'clock at night when you meet up once again at Bartleby's house of God of Amriel, his temple. And you're all sort of like, you're Hazra, Hengist, and Gulliver, you're sort of like outside, and Hazra and Gulliver, you notice that Hengist has this rather dirty looking cloak on. So Hazra, Gulliver, you're probably there before. Then you see Hengist coming down with this dirty cloak on as he comes up.
Hazra will lean across to Gulliver and say, "I'm going to stay near you because Hengist smells like poop."
I think he might have fallen over when he was coming here.
Has been attacked?
As he comes towards you, there's this smell of burning, like smouldering wood from the ash. And Hengist is probably quite. Yeah, he's sort of like.
I've disguised the fact I'm wearing a suit of armor, but he's got it just like carefully over his armor, so he's still big and bulky, but he's not like shining everywhere.
Yeah.
Have you been involved in a siege?
On his face and that sort of stuff.
Sorry, Hazel, what was that?
As Hengist, have you been involved in a siege? No.
No, I've just dressed down for the occasion.
I have this vision of Hengist sort of like putting his voice up, getting closer, saying, "I am in disguise."
You're on the ground.
My name is Olaf.
Did you not recognize me?
Look, have you seen his painting of the Madonna
with the big boobies? Mr. Pickles, you won't know what we're talking about. No, it was
just laugh politely.
It was an English comedy called Allo Allo, or it's like in the French Resistance.
Resistance.
But when they talk, they're all talking in French, but they're really talking English with a French accent, if that makes sense. And there's all this thing about there's a picture
of Madonna
with the big boobies.
With the big booby woobies.
And the policeman always says things like, he doesn't say "I was passing by," he says "I was pissing by." What's the innkeeper called?
I can't remember. The actor's just passed away a little while.
Yeah. Rene.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
And it's sort of like, and then there's Rene, and his wife is a bit like Faulty. It's a bit like Faulty Towers, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's
you've got the assistant who's like, whoa.
Yeah, there's two sort of like hot-looking women who always go Renee, like this is sort of, and then this sort of like it switches in that she's one of these hot waitresses is leaning over Renee, and of course his missus comes in and he just says, "You stupid woman, I was giving her mouth to mouth." It is really good. YouTube it.
To be fair, you had to be there.
Yeah. It was a classic sitcom. Okay then, yeah. So Hengist is there with his dirty clothes on. I am in disguise, And Bartleby, you come out of the church, and you see Hazra and Gulliver and Hengist in his mucky cloak.
Everybody's looking nice.
Do you want us to? Do you want us to wait somewhere else until she arrives, just in case? Well, just in case we put her off.
Put her off, but why would you? You are my friends.
Well, I know, but
But 4 men meeting a strange woman at night could seem a little bit distressing, I think.
I suppose.
Did you warn her that you were bringing friends?
I'm certain I said that I'd need my cohorts to get down to the justice of the situation. Maybe I just thought that on the way to the bar.
That's good. No.
It's while you're talking that you hear from the shadows once more, as if she doesn't want to sort of like come into the main street or approach the church at all, and she calls out just like she did before, "Mr. Bartleby, I am here."
I'll whip around to address her.
Yeah, and she's sort of like lurking in the in the shadows still. And as you sort of like see her, she sort of like steps out, and Hengist, Hazra, and Gulliver, you see her at the for the first time, and as she takes a few steps closer, the three of you smell the approaching smell of the slums, that smell of urine and mold and rot and unclean people. There's definitely probably not been bathed for some time.
Gulliver will take a step closer to Hazra.
Yeah, Hazra is actually more sweetly smelling than our rose. Marigold, sorry. And she sort of like comes up and says, she's sort of like got several layers, because it's cold still. There's the mist hovering around, and she's sort of like clinging together, and she says, "Are you ready to see the sight?"
Indeed, Marigold. I've brought my cohorts to help solve this problem. Bring justice to your daughter.
And she sort of like looks round at Hazra, Gulliver, and Hengist. And what are you?
Gulliver will go, "Hello, I'm Gulliver."
And she sort of like looks at you, and sort of like almost like casts her eye up and down. What do you look? What are you wearing, Gulliver? I need to know. Not. I don't need to know the colour of your underpants, or pants. I need to just know what you look like.
He has a cloak on at the moment, but under that he has sort of like a fairly plain coloured shirt on underneath.
Okay.
And some breeches and a pair of boots. Gulliver doesn't own a lot of clothing, so probably every time that Hazra, Hengist, and Bartleby sees him, he's probably in the same things.
Yeah.
His washing day is he sits around in his undergarments, for the day when they're probably being washed. He doesn't have a lot of clothes. And
do you have anything that openly says that you are a sorcerer, more a member of the Order of the Kraken?
No.
Okay, then.
And the reason that he doesn't is because a lot of the people in Lindo now don't like the sorcerers.
Okay, so
it's almost as if they consider them to be, causing trouble.
Yeah, and so she does sort of like, when you introduce yourself, she sort of like looks at you and just sort of like almost like nods her head and sort of like says, "Hello, kind sir." And Hazra, what are you clothed in?
I am wearing, as always, my quilted armour. It's that grey, padded armour that looks like it wraps around myself, and it's going around my face as well and over my head. So all you can see is there.
Yeah, and how do you introduce yourself?
I'll be silent. I will just look at her and nod.
Okay. She sort of like looks back a little bit suspicious and concerned, and then she turns to you, Hengist. How would you like? I know how you're dressed, but how would you like to introduce yourself, if at all?
So the only thing I was going to say is Hengist is not wearing his helmet at the moment, and his shield is he hasn't got his shield with him currently. at all.
Please tell me you have a weapon.
But yeah, he's got everything else.
That's okay.
So no passive blocking with a shield for this.
He has a shield for sledging.
So you did say you haven't got your helmet on.
No helmet on.
Ooh, I need a special. I need a special. Choose location. Head.
Passive block. Head. But he'll introduce himself. He'll say, "I'm Hengist, and my deepest sympathies for your loss. And hopefully, we can bring the
just roll your deceit skill for me, because you're trying not to sound like the gentry.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fail spectacularly.
Yeah, and you Hazra and Bartleby and Gulliver, you sort of like, Hengist has got this messy cloak on, and then he almost like tries to change his voice a bit to sound more common, but Bartleby and Gulliver, you, or especially you, Bartleby, you suddenly think, what? He's almost like he's trying to speak French just by using a French accent, and the woman, Marigold, sort of like looks at you, Hengist, and sort of like, and then almost like does an almost like a clumsy curtsy and bow, and she says, "I am honoured, your lord." You know, and she hobbles back up, and she sort of like says, she doesn't address Hazra or Hengist or Gulliver at any time she speaks. She only speaks to Bartleby, unless I specifically say that she's talking to you. You also like think that she almost like knows Bartleby, or seems to be the connection, and she doesn't know you people, and she comes across as she's very apprehensive about it, and she sort of like turns to you, Bartleby, and says, I can take you to a place where it happened.
Please do, Marigold.
And she sort of like lifts up several layers of skirt, and you know, and you see her boots are worn and battered, and she sort of like heads down round Lindo, and she seems to hobble, half run, not as if she's keen to get to the site, but keen to get out of the area. The town, when you get to this place on the map, yeah, can you see where it's picking?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she sort of like takes a long way round here, and as she sort of like goes to the gate, there's two of the guard on the gate, and the gates are open. They normally close about 10 bells, and they sort of like let her, she just sort of like hurries past, and Bartleby, you sort of like see this look of disdain and distaste, and the guards almost like screw their noses up at her as if to say, oh, what a common piece of, what a nothing. And as you sort of like follow, one of the guards sort of like shouts out, "Is that you, Hengist?" No, it doesn't. which would be, they sort of like go, "Remember, the gate closes at 10 bells."
I'll call up. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's just sort of like they walk past, and you almost like hear somebody says, maybe one of them says, "Hope you enjoy yourself. Don't come back with catching anything." And you sort of like head down into the slums, and you get taken. Just 1 second, I'm nearly there.
Gulliver, as we enter the slums, he's going to be sort of like keep keeping an eye out behind. He's going to keep looking back to see whether or not there's anybody following us.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Can you just roll your perception skill? It will be at a harder level.
You want me to blind roll it to you or just roll it?
No, you can roll it. That's no problem.
I got a 55 out of a 61 standard.
You sort of like keep an eye out behind it. There seems to be people milling around in the slum, but it doesn't appear that anybody is following you as such. And Marigold starts to take you through the slums, and then she sort of like says, it's almost like all of a sudden she sort of like stops, and she sort of like points. She stops here where your characters are, yeah, and she sort of like points to the alleyway down there, and she sort of like looks at you, Bartleby, and she says, "That's where it happened," and she points down to the alleyway.
When she says that, I will step forward and say, Bartleby, I will go have a quick look first before we go down there. I don't want footprints messing up the area if more than what it probably already is. So maybe I might be able to see something.
Good idea.
The woman turns round to Marigold, turns round to you, Bartleby, and she says, "I cannot go down there, Mr. Bartleby. It is too traumatic for me."
That's fine. We won't make you relive that.
I will wait here for your return.
Good idea. I'll go for it.
Okay then. So we'll take our break there, and when we get back, Hazra will be going down to check the alleyway, maybe alone, or somebody might accompany him, and Bartleby you'll need to decide, Bartleby, whether or not you're going to stay. Well, you or anybody else is going to stay here with the old woman, and whether or not anybody's going to go down with Hazra or not to the foreboding alleyway. Yes, so anybody who's watching, thank you so much for supporting the stream so far. We're going to have a quick 10-minute break, so we will be back at in exactly 10 minutes, which will be 42 minutes past. So until then, go and grab yourself a drink and some beverages and some snacks, and we will see you in 10. See you soon. Be right back.
temperature, because I don't know if you've eaten something or if it's the light reflecting off your lips, but you've got some stuff on. Yeah, go on.
Pre-game blowjob.
Yeah, I had. I'll tell you what I had. I had a hot cross bun.
Ooh. I had ice cream.
I had ice cream.
Well, I had a slice of Viennetta.
My Lord.
it was Viennetta or cake.
Hang on, stop. The 80s just called. They've asked for the Viennetta back.
No, that's Black Forest Gatto, mate.
Yeah, Viennetta's a big long log, isn't it? Where you just chop bits down.
Yeah, Sainsbury's didn't have Black Forest Gatto on offer. They had Viennetta.
Viennetta's 80s.
Yeah,
I love it.
Don't rush, Mr. Pickles. We don't want you getting indigestion.
Apart from that, he's the only person that can communicate with the NPCs at the moment.
Sorry, I didn't realise that I left the mic on, so you probably heard them talking right the way through it. So I apologise for any language that they used.
It was margarine on my lips, or spread from my
You don't have to qualify it. You
Spread from your hot cross bun.
You're fine.
Despite what Medivac said it was.
I hate to think, and I do.
I can tell you now if you want.
No, I apologise most.
He's told the rest of the street.
I know. I'm the only one who doesn't know. Okay.
So this is what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah. So here we are. Bartleby, you're with Marigold. Hazra, you're about to make your way down to the slum alleyway. Hengist and Gulliver, what's going to be your plan?
Gulliver is going to go with Hazra.
Okay.
Okay. Hengist will stay with Bartleby in that case. So if Bartleby's staying with Marigold, then he'll stay there. If not, he'll go with wherever Bartleby goes, basically.
Let's bring on. There you go.
Well, she's older than I thought she was.
There she is. There's Miko.
Before Hazard goes down the alleyway, could I do a prayer for him? Because then I do intend to stay with Hengist and not mess up the tracking that I presume Hazard's going to do. What I'd like to do for Hazard, because he's wearing just his beautifully quilted armor, I'd like to give him one of these.
Okay, yeah.
May Amriel smile on you and keep you safe.
Yeah.
Can I use a point of luck to reverse?
No, you can. You can use minutes to get it ready. That's not a problem, and that will give you some protection on you. There it is. Bing. There you go.
Hazra, feeling the light of Amriel course down his body, will turn to Bartleby and just bow.
I'll bow with him.
and Marigold sees you're both bowing and bows as well. Can I just say, I noticed that there's a bit of shading on this picture, and it got me really cross when Roll20 says, for the number of October, due to whatever con it is, anybody that puts Roll20 in their title for their actual play or something, or can have free dynamic lighting for that month and no adverts.
What if you already have dynamic lighting and no adverts?
Exactly. That's exactly what I tweeted them.
I
So I said,
Are they going to give you adverts and no lighting?
yeah. So but it really bugs me.
Cancel
that.
your subscription so that you could have it free for a month.
But they could say you have. Yeah, that's what they should say. Really, if you're an existing customer, you can have an extra month for free, or something like that. It just really annoys me, because they do that, and then people will want to buy it once they see how good it is. That's what I think.
They're doing.
Yeah.
I might have been a Sky customer. Anyway.
Oh.
Can't afford Sky.
Can't afford Sky.
Sky is the only company I know that if you don't want a service, you have to pay more. Can I get broadband? It comes with Sky TV. I don't want Sky TV, so it'll be £27 more. What?
But it's also the only company that I know that when you try to cancel, they go, no, have it for free.
Yeah.
Stay with us. It's fine. Stay.
Shows how desperate they are. Okay then. So let's head back. Hazra, you're obviously going to be in the lead. Gulliver's behind you.
Gulliver sees the exchange between Hazra and Bartleby, and as Hazra sets off down the alleyway, Gulliver will say, "No, I'll be fine, Bartleby, thanks."
Oh, poor. Okay, so Hazra, you should have control of your token.
Yep.
Show me.
I will be using stealth while moving down here. I want to be as quiet as possible as I move into the area that the lady's pointed to.
Okay, then. So move yourself to where you want to stop.
Well, I want to move to the corner here.
Okay, then. And then roll your stealth.
Stealth.
Gulliver, what would you like to do?
Gulliver will let Hazra go first. Following, he's following down. Can I just go back for the information that we got, that Bartleby got, because I presume that Bartleby filled us in of what Marigold said.
Probably.
Yeah, I would have given every detail I could, and whatever I role played was.
Okay, so did it happen 2 weeks ago?
2 days.
2 days.
That body was found.
2 days ago, right?
Yeah, correct.
So it's now 3 days ago.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
What are you?
I'm going to let.
Are you just going to slowly move it down?
Go down, and then once he's, then I'm going to go. I'm going to go down as well.
Are you trying to stealth as well?
No.
No. Okay then. So you both sort of like head down to the alleyway entrance, and you. Gulliver, you're sort of like walking down, and
I'm just sort of like looking at the floor and the walls to see.
And
I can see.
There's some light being cast down from the sort of like the second floor windows around. So although it's dark, it's not completely dark, and you can see roughly the where the alleyway is, and you do sort of like step on a couple of things as you're walking down, and then Hazra stops, and Gulliver, you sort of like stop as well at the corner.
Here you go. What are we looking for, Hazra?
But this is the point where the lady was. This is the area the lady was pointing to. So I just want to have a look around here and see if there's anything. This girl is butchered, so I'd expect some blood on the walls, or just anything that's out of place that's not supposed to be here.
Right. Gulliver will start looking at the walls and
For
anything that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
How dark is it?
It's it's probably it's a bit like when you're walking outside on when there's a full moon. So you can see things, but you can't see fine detail or
Okay,
anything.
he's going to he's going to take off his backpack. He's going to put it down, and he's going to get a torch out, and he's going to light a torch.
Yeah, so you light your flaming torch, which sort of like illuminates the area more so. What you're both sort of like.
Is there anything on the walls? Is there any blood stains or darker patches on the?
Well,
on the
you're not actually.
Oh, right.
You're not actually to the place where.
Right. Okay.
Because she was pointing to this alleyway here.
Oh, right. Okay.
So Hazard's sort of like gone to the corner and stopped.
And I'm waiting. Yep. So Hazard's there now, and he's at the corner. He wants to look around the corner and see what he can see.
Yeah, it's you can see the alleyway that ends in a dead
more,
end.
It's a dead end, is it? Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was more worried about. Okay, so Hazard will go around, and as he's doing that, he will be looking at the floor. He'll be looking at the walls as he's moving up there so slowly, just taking everything in. Because, like I say, if there was a butchered body here, I'm sure there'd be something still here.
Okay then. So you look around then. So roll your perception. Are you going down the alleyway?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Okay then. So put yourself right at the end because you'll slowly make your way down to the end.
Yeah.
And then Gulliver, you
Gulliver's following, keeping.
Yeah, so Gulliver can roll his perception as well. Yeah, okay then. This happened 3 days ago now, and as I mentioned in the beginning, there's been rain for some time, that drizzly rain that hangs in the air, etc. And you notice that because of the overhanging buildings on either side, this place is quite sheltered from things, and the light is not too good. But you've got your torch with you, and you sort of like both take your time to sort of like go up and down the alleyway, sort of like searching and having a look at things. And on either side of you, you can see windows with soft flickery lighting. You think probably from candles or something like that. The first thing that you both notice, you notice it quite clearly, is the blood splatters up the side of the buildings. Probably it's almost like arterial blood has been so arteries sliced, and then which would mean that the blood would fly out. The actual floor is quite wet, and there's sort of like bits of rubbish and debris everywhere. But so any blood on the floor probably has either soaked away or soaked into something. But because the buildings are stone and built around in Lindo, the blood splatters are quite clear still. It almost like reminds you both of the cave paintings that you saw in the Temple of Chaos, not in the sense that they're like anything, but it's as if something has been attacked quite viciously and quite without restraint, and it's just sort of like being you can see the sprays up on the walls, etc.
Could have a look on the walls here. She just displayed the pattern of the blood. Something was definitely killed here. Someone was definitely killed here.
I think we already know that, though.
Well, it certainly gets rid of any doubt we had.
I think we need more information from Marigold.
But what kind of information? Because the poor woman has lost her daughter. And she doesn't know how all she knows is the girl was butchered. I don't think she saw what happened, though, did she?
But what was Rose doing down here? Who found her? Where's the body now?
That's a very good question. He said that he goes nowhere.
Is somebody tired?
Yeah, somebody is tired.
You go to bed. I want to cast a spell.
Okay.
And the spell I'm going to be casting is I'll put it into a second. Do that. It's going to be a range of that, probably target that one there.
Okay.
I'm going to cast telepathy, and I'm going to look for Bartleby's mind.
Okay, then. Bartleby's quite used to you talking telepathically to him, and you don't fumble it at all. And Bartleby, you feel the connection coming through. So remember now that anything that Gulliver and Bartleby say to each other are in their minds. It's not privy to anybody else.
So Gulliver will say, Bartleby, it's me, Gulliver.
I hear you, Gulliver.
I know you find this type of thing hard, but I think you're going to have to ask Marigold some more questions. We need to find out more about what happened that night. And to be honest with you, I don't think she trusts anybody else apart from you. Which I find odd, because I'm a really trustworthy person.
I agree.
Now, can you find out? Well, you know the type of questions to ask. What was Rose doing down here? Who found her? Where is she? Where's her? I know this is going to be hard for you to ask, but where's her body now?
I think I can ask those questions.
The night when she was killed, who was she with? Had she gone to meet somebody? Was she with a friend? Where was she coming back from? Can we retrace the steps? There's not much down here apart from blood, and it's all over the walls. And how's what's going on about archery or something?
It does sound like him. I'll start asking her some questions, Gulliver.
Do you go?
I don't know if there's if you're just going to stick around or if I should start asking questions.
You would probably find it quite uncomfortable that speaking out loud, but also having Gulliver talking telepathically to you, especially since he probably butts in and talks over you when because he probably gets excited and sort of like starts asking you questions to ask Marigold. So, but
in that case, I'd like to cast 2 prayers on the situation to make this workable for me. The first one I'd like to do, it involves a lot of arm movement. This one.
Okay.
I'd like to use this, and the goal is to be looking at Marigold.
Okay.
Incidentally, peripheral stuff, but mostly Marigold.
Are you suggesting that she would be covered with magic in some way?
I'm beginning to feel paranoid. Yes.
Okay.
I just want to make sure. Would I be able to take minutes on that? Or?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. People are watching the stream. If you take minutes on the spell casting instead of it being standard roll, it becomes an easy roll. Well, okay, then yeah, you can do that. And what's the other spell that you would like to cast?
The other spell is targeting towards her, and she does have a save on this. I'd like to do some preventative measures for when I start asking hard questions.
What's a save on it?
Willpower.
Okay then.
And here will be my roll for that. 35.
Yeah. Okay then. Cool. So both spells come off successfully. Don't forget to remove your magic points. You look at which site on that allows you to see magic of any nature. She is completely mundane. She is non-magical. She has no magical aura around her at all. She does stop whimpering, and she seems to stop shaking a bit as you put the calm spell on her. And just to let you know, when you try to calm her down, it seems very genuine what was upsetting her, and you think probably coming back to this place is not something would have chosen to do. Apart from that, she's probably just really wants to find the killer of her daughter.
All right. Now that I've done that, and having done several minutes of prayers and reciting prayers and lines of Amriel blessings, hopefully getting the voice in my head kind of calmed down and avoiding butting in for a moment, and that's when I'll start to ask the questions, trying as casually as Bartleby can. The first being, what was your daughter doing around this part? This is a little bit of a dark alley.
She sort of like Marigold sort of like looks at you and she says, "Oh, Master Bartleby, I do not know. I always tell her to be careful and come straight home. Our house is, but well, our lodgings is somewhat 2 or 3 minutes away from here. I would not expect her to go down that alley. It's a dead end."
Was she coming home from a job, perhaps, or did she?
We sell flowers, kind sir. You know, buy a flower off a poor girl.
Indeed. And she would have been working that day, selling flowers?
Mr. Bartleby, we work every day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
We are not blessed with the riches that you and she looks at Hengist, the gentry possess, and she gives you a little curtsy bow, Hengist, as she says it.
Yeah, so it's there's the differences in classes can be jarring to me too sometimes. What do you know who found Rose?
The person who lives there, and she points to this building here.
Good to know. Thank you. Has her body been buried, or do you know where she's currently at?
She's not getting aggravated. She's getting more upset. She's not. The calm spell's still working, but she is getting upset, and she sort of like says, "There wasn't much left of her to bury. There was a piece here and a piece there, and that's all it was."
Did she just say a piece?
Yes, she did.
I'll Bartleby will give her kind of a quizzical look and say, "What do you mean a piece?"
So it goes. It's sort of like the emotions come rushing past, and even your calm spell doesn't seem to. It's just sort of like welling up inside her, and she sort of like looks up at you and fixes her eyes to your eyes, and you see they're all overwhelmed with tears, and they're literally running down her face and smearing the smudge and everything. And she looks straight into your eyes and she says, "She was ripped to pieces, Mr. Bartleby, into pieces." And she sort of like starts to sob.
I'm gonna think to Gulliver if he's still there. This is why normally people like you better.
"Oi, what you doing there?" And the door of the building opens, and a rather rotund man seems to be some kind of worker.
Metal worker.
You're weird. Probably some kind of blacksmith, and he sort of like comes out and he says, Welsh accent. "Oh no!
Go on here, come out. Go on.
No.
Do an Indian one. They aren't Welsh.
No, go on.
Hang on. I'll just turn my mic off to get in the road.
No, nobody look at him. No, don't look.
Just think of Tom Jones.
Yeah. It's not unusual. Dun.
Right.
Dun.
Ivor the engine.
Ivor the engine.
Dun.
And he sort of like says,
Dun.
he says, "I know I can't."
I even gave you the. It's not unusual.
What the bloody hell you do not here?
No, it's
Okay, make him Indian then.
No, I'm just going to...
Windsor Davis, do that one.
What a lovely pair of shoulders. That's what Windsor Davis. He sort of like goes, what are you doing there? And he sort of like sees Marigold there, and he sort of like goes, "Marigold, is that you? Marigold?" And she sort of like looks up, and he sort of like he doesn't barge his way through. He sort of like pushes your way through, and he sort of like goes up and sort of like embraces her and pats her on her back and says, "What's wrong, Marigold? Have these gentlemen been giving you issues?" And he looks at you, Bartleby.
I'll vigorously shake my head.
And he looks at Hengist, who's sort of like still fashioning his dirty clothes, sort of like thinking, "I am totally in disguise. No one will see." "Well, what are you doing here?" He sort of like gives sideways glances to you, Hengist. "What business do you have in the slums? This is where we live, not where you hoity-toity people live. There's no ladies around here for you. This is a respectable area."
I'm sure it is, good sir, but the Lady Marigold here has...
Lady? She's no lady. She's not one of you. She's not like upper gentry. She's one of us. Her name's Marigold, not Lady Hoity-Toity Marigold. Marigold, so it says. "Oh, Tom, stop this." He says, "You never mind, Marigold. You stay with me. What are you people doing here?"
Marigold has asked us to, or more importantly, asked Mr. Bartleby here, this lovely priest of Amriel, and us to look into her daughter Rose's tragic demise.
"Well, is that right, Marigold? Have you hired these people?" I had to do something, Tom. I had to do something. I had to find out how and why and who or what? Marigold, you should put all this behind you. You cannot weep for her grieve for her every day. She has gone. You must move on. You must. I can't, Tom. I really can't. He says, "Come with me," and he sort of like starts to move towards the open door. You can see inside that there is some kind of dwelling in there, and he sort of like puts his "Come with me, Marigold. You better with us." And he sort of like waits for you people to gently part, which I assume you do, as she sort of like takes her sobbing, and he sort of like looks back at both of you and says, "You just be careful down here. This is not a place where you hoity-toities can come. This is the slums, and here we rule rather than you, if you get my meaning."
Bartleby will interrupt. Yes, Tom, we get your meaning. Just out of game, this isn't the house that you said was the house of the person who found the dead rose?
This is the house of that, yeah.
It is. Okay, I just wanted to confirm that.
And he sort of like enters in and sort of like slams the door behind him.
I'd like to usher Hengist, if I can, down the alley to go meet up with Gulliver and Hazra.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oops.
So while they're doing that, Hazra will say to Gulliver, it might be worth, if these windows are looking onto this alleyway, they must have heard something. So maybe if we can talk to the people in the houses, maybe somebody saw what happened or saw something.
Hearing his voice, Gulliver sort of like turn around, but when you see him, his sort of like eyes are all sort of like
watery, yeah.
It's like water, all glossied over with the light.
Seeing as Hazra go, by Amriel, what is wrong with your face, Gulliver?
I was born like this.
So hoping you didn't notice the breakup.
Crackly.
Hengist and Bartleby, as you enter the alleyway, could you just roll me a perception roll, please?
Hengist made a perception.
I know, it's becoming a habit.
Yeah.
I'm getting worried.
Hengist, as you sort of like come in, and there's a torchlight flickering from the torch, Gulliver's torch, and with your formidable success there, you notice something seems to be catching the eye, catching the light in a pile of rubbish. It seems to be rubbish. It seems to be some kind of debris. You don't think it's actually parts of anyone, but there definitely seems to be something metal down there. What would you like to do?
Okay. Hengist will sort of, as soon as he spots that, he'll sort of like wander over to, well, he'll walk over to where it is, and then sort of like gingerly, sort of like he'll brush it free it from the rubbish with his foot, not wanting to touch it as yet, to sort of like see sort of like more of what it is.
Yeah, it seems to be some kind of chain and locket.
Okay. At which point he will stoop down to pick it up and have a look, and as sort of like he brings it up in one hand and studies it, he'll say, he'll say out loud, "I seem to have found a necklace of some sort."
Yeah, it seems to be some kind of locket. Gulliver and Bartleby, make commerce rolls for me, please. Bartleby, you had that one critical success at the beginning, and then it's just going down here. Gulliver, it doesn't look expensive at all. You think it's probably some kind of cheap metal, maybe pewter, something like that. It's not expensive at all. Hengist, when you're sort of like holding it, you notice that it's quite dull in places, and you do notice that there's bits of blood on it, and also what appears to be like blondish hair. There's one or two of them caught up in the chain, stuck on where there might be some dried blood on it as well. Just to remind
Gulliver will say, no, let me see it, Hengist.
So Hengist will walk over and sort of like extend his arm out to Gulliver and have a good look at it.
Is the lock broken on it? The clasp?
No, it doesn't look like there's a clasp of any nature. It looks like it's almost a piece. There's no hinge on it. It just looks like it's a piece of metal, soft metal, that's been folded over. It's crudely shaped into what might be a heart, but you're not too sure. You still notice that there's bits of rough edges even on it when it hasn't been filed properly.
Gulliver wants to hand the torch over to Hengist and say, hold this, Hengist. If he does, he wants to have a closer look at the thing in the light, sort of like turning it over, see whether or not he can see any markings on it. Or it doesn't open, I take it. It's not a locket that opens.
No, it just seems to be a folded piece of soft metal. And you can see that it looks like somebody's taken a nail or something. And it's quite soft, the metal, and it's almost like inscribed it. Almost like scratched it in, and it seems to be a scratched image of a quite simple flower. Putting two to two together, you almost like think it could possibly be a rose, and then that's it.
I think it probably belonged to Rose. Where did you find it?
Hengist will sort of like gesture with the torch, like swinging around and say, just over there in that pile of rubbish. It just caught my eye as I was coming down the alleyway. As you can see, so I'm there on the chain. There's splotches of blood and hair. So I'll quite happily. Well, it's quite likely a pile of roses.
See, Hengist, you make perception rolls when you don't have your helmet on.
Yeah,
I figured that out. That's what it is.
Gulliver's going to go over to Bartleby, and he's going to hand the locket over to Bartleby.
Bartleby, take it. I'm recoiling a little bit from the blood and hair.
So I was just thinking, pass the locket, pass.
Bartleby will hold it up because it's a new moon right now, right?
Yeah.
Or no, it's a first quarter for Amriel. Yeah. Bartleby is going to pray to Amriel to give him some sort of insight or vision on this locket. Would I be able to roll devotion to see if she answers?
What are you hoping to gain from
I'm hoping that Amriel, she speaks in abstract images, but I'm hoping she might give an idea of who the attacker or attackers were.
Right.
I'm just going to pray to her to see if... Would you like me to roll, or do you think...
No, I don't think. Apart from it would make a very short adventure. Yeah. So, yes, it was so-and-so. Okay, let's go get him. Amriel's not going to... but there's no reason for her to intervene.
Seeing Bartleby started to pray, Gulliver's going to go, I just thought maybe it would, I don't know, give Marigold a bit of peace.
Oh, yeah, so there is that too. And she went inside with Tom.
And maybe she...
Gulliver says, Tom? Who's Tom?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were in my head a little bit longer than you must have been.
No, you told me to go. I went. I wouldn't be keeping your head unless you wanted me in there, Bartleby. I went as soon as you said.
Oh, so you didn't hear all of the prayers? You didn't share in the scripture of Amriel? That's fine. There was a man, Tom, at the house that seemed very protective of her. Would you like this locket back? And Bartleby will pass it over. And he was the one who found her body. He was the one protective of bringing Marigold inside.
What did he say? What did he say?
I hadn't had the opportunity to ask.
Of being up to no good with Marigold. Not much. He just seems to sort of whisk her away and try and comfort her.
You didn't speak to him, did you, Hasma? Hengist?
Well, I had to defend mine and Bartleby's honour as we went up to no good. I explained what we were about.
We're not exactly down here robbing people. We're trying to find out who murdered a girl and ripped her into pieces.
And that's what I conveyed to Tom.
I think we might have more luck if we appear in the light of day before the gates have closed for the night and ask him more questions. He seemed keen on not talking to us tonight.
Well, you know best, Bartleby. You know these people better than we do.
Oi! What are you doing in my alley? And coming round the corner seems to be quite an elderly man. He's very dirty, very unclean. His mouth probably has about 2 teeth in it, one here and one there. He's unshaven. He's got white spindly beard, wiry beard. He seems to look like he's been out in the rain for a considerable amount of time, which is probably the only sort of bathing he does. And as he comes round the corner and declares what you are doing in his alley, Bartleby, you're closest, and you get a very strong whiff of devil's drink. There's definitely a strong whiff of alcohol coming down from him. He's stooped and he sort of like says, "What are you doing in my alleyway? This is my alleyway here."
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that people could own alleyways or that they'd be inclined to do so.
Well, you own a house, don't you? I own an alley, and this is my alley.
Well, it's technically more than I own. I'm a priest, sir. I own no property. It's a beautiful alleyway. How long have you owned it for?
Why? Don't ask. It's my alley. You don't need to know how long I've been here. Longer than you. That's what I would say. Longer than you.
That's definitely true.
What were you?
I guess...
He sort of like casts his eye round all 4 of you, almost like suspiciously, and says, "What you 4 doing down this alleyway together?"
If I'm not mistaken, looking around at everybody, we're leaving the alleyway?
Well,
Astra will look at the man and say, "So this is your alleyway. So you knew the girl that was murdered here."
You speak funny. Where are you from?
I'm from the northern steppes of Odessa, where my family and my tribe have travelled for many generations.
Can't see that they understood a word you were saying half the time. Completely weird, if you ask me. People not talking right like I do. You should get a good voice like mine.
I'm sorry, but I'm not from the cities.
No.
And you city folk do speak mighty strange.
I can see that. What you doing in my alley then?
Sure, this is your alleyway. You know about the body that was found here of the young girl. You know about the murder. What happened?
He says, "Yeah, I know about her. Messed up my alleyway, it did." blood
So did you-
everywhere, bits of ear, bits of leg. You know, I actually went to sleep, found something sticking into my back, and it was a bloody thumb. Just stood there. I thought I was a bit like a princess sleeping on a pea, I tell you. I was black and blue by the time I woke up.
You don't seem to have any compassion for this poor lady that died.
She's dead. In the slums, we don't have compassion for the dead. Her thumb went to a good use, though.
What kind of use would you have for a thumb?
It fed the dog.
Oh, I'm right.
Dogs have to eat as well, you know. And plus, giving it to the dog got me a free drink.
Did you see anybody around here when it happened? Were you around here when it happened? Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I was stood right next to her when she was ripped to shreds. Yeah. Oh, you can't see me. I could see what's happening, and you can't see me. Of course I wasn't bloody here. And he sort of goes, idiot. Who would have
For
thought
a
these?
moment, I thought you had the powers of invisibility.
Who would have thought townies? I do know something though.
I don't believe you do.
He sort of like takes. He doesn't look at you, Hazra.
Gulliver say, is it worth a silver?
It might be worth a drink.
Would a silver get you a drink?
Maybe.
How about?
See, and he leans a bit closer, and the smell emanating from him gets mighty stronger. Not only is there alcohol, but you know there's sweat and urine, and maybe a touch of feces as well in there. And he gets really close to you, and as he gets closer, you know,
Gulliver sort of like holds his breath.
yeah, because out of his mouth through, you notice that his teeth are probably fallen out because they were rotten, and his bad breath is there. He says, I know who ripped her. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that, don't you? I bet you hoity-toity people don't know who ripped her. Nah, you don't know that, but I know who did it.
That must be worth 2 silver pieces.
Tell you what, give me 5 and I'll tell you what I heard as well.
How many fingers did he hold up when he said 5?
1 hand.
Oh, bugger. He can count.
Just to 5. Do you want to know what I know? What happened here in my alley? When that poor lass was, you know, separated.
Gulliver will turn its back so Hengist can't see, and he'll count out 5 silver pieces from his pouch, and he'll hold them up to the guy and he'll say, tell us what you know.
He says, money first. He says, I might be poor, but I'm not stupid. I know how you town folk work. Money before information.
Gulliver hand it over,
He's like,
and then he'll say, where's your dog?
and he sort of like takes out each coin out of his hand and sort of like taps it onto his teeth just to make sure. He says, what dog? I don't have a dog.
Oh.
Now, he says, Are we talking in my alley or somewhere else?
Is there more than one person that's been ripped to shreds?
We can talk here, if you wish.
Well,
I'm
no,
quite- I'm
let's.
quite happy to talk here. This is my home, where I live, even though there are random thumbs sticking in me back all the time.
Let's maybe go. Let's maybe go somewhere else.
You see where he's standing? And he points at Hengist.
Yes.
That's my lovey.
Hengist will take
That's where I do me business.
Hengist will just look at his feet and then sort of like half shuffle.
Yeah, you figure the things that you moved away from the necklace was some various human excrement.
Lucky charms.
Gulliver said, tell us quickly, then.
He turns to Angus and says, "Don't worry, it'll make you grow. Put hairs on your chest,
And then we can leave you in peace to you in your home."
Right, he says. So, he says, a few nights ago, here I was, walking back to me home. You understand? Me home, here.
Mm-hmm.
It was not very late, but quite late.
Had the gates closed?
What gates?
Into the slums.
Oh, I live here. I don't leave the slums.
Oh.
I don't
Right.
go to your hoity-toity place over there, ever. Anyway, I'm coming back, really looking forward to a good old poop, and maybe settling down for the night. And what do I hear? Screaming from my bloody alley. I tell you, I bloody well thought, if Bill's brought another lass back to my alley, there'll be trouble. Last time, well, I'm not mentioning that. Anyway, as I came round, there was screaming and howling and screaming, and then all of a sudden, nout. It stopped. It stopped altogether. And I peeked round the alleyway, and that lass was spread. She looked like she had been, well, it wasn't a smooth cut, like with a sharp knife. It was torn, ripped, an arm here, the head over there, a thumb here, a foot over there. She was all over this bloody alley, I tell you, all over. Even the walls had bits of her brain splattered on it. Took me ages to find a clean spot to sleep in. But that's when I saw him climbing over the wall there at the end, and he points to this dead end alley. That's when I saw him.
How do you know it was a him?
Oh, we all know about him. We all know about him.
We don't know about him, but surely 5 silver pieces should let us know about him as well.
Oh, quite easily, mister. I knew straight away that Sewer Jack was back.
Sewer Jack? Who's Sewer Jack?
You must have heard the stories of Sewer Jack. You're obviously not from these parts.
No.
Bartleby, just roll your streetwise. Roll your law of monsters, and you can augment it with your streetwise, which would be fine. That'll be fine because you'll get 1 point.
Does he live in the sewers?
Oh, he lives in the sewers until he comes out to kill. He does, and then he comes up and he grabs the unexpected, the young, the blonde-haired ones, and he drags them and butchers them. People make fun of me when I say that Sewer Jack's back. They think Sewer Jack is just a kid's story, something to scare the children as they go to bed at night. But I know he's real. I've seen him several times. Those late nights when I gaze down the alleyways and I just see his green, yellowy eyes staring back at me, enticing me, calling for me, but also warning me, because he likes to eat people. Bartleby, you, as he talks about this, you have heard of Sewer Jack before. He is a story that people have been telling for years, decades even, about somebody who eats dead things, dead people, dead animals, etc. And he's meant to come out, or it's meant to come out late at night and scavenge round the slum area for food and things like that. And you've heard this story before, and just as the old man said, it's almost like do you know what the bogeyman is?
Oh yeah.
It's almost like a story about the bogeyman coming and get you, or check underneath your bed. The bogeyman might be there. This isn't something new. This is, you even remember growing up on the streets, hearing people either saying, "You better watch out, otherwise Sewer Jack will get you," or "Yeah, go on, do that. See whether or not you'll cross Sewer Jack." And it's almost like this childhood story that's, like I said, been going around for decades, and you never ever suspected that there's any truth in the story of Sewer Jack. It's almost like, the bogeyman will get you. There's been no sightings of him or any proof that he exists or anything like that.
How high is the wall at the end of this guy said that he saw him climbing?
It's probably, imagine that it goes up to the second story height. Does that make sense? So
about 20 foot?
Yeah, easily. He sort of like comes really close and says, "Well worth the 5 silver, wasn't it?"
Well worth it.
And he sort of like looks over to the debris pile where Hengist was stood. He says, "Excuse me, just 1 minute. I've had lots to drink." And he sort of like toddles over to it, and he sort of like
is careful to take more steps back so that he's not anywhere near splashback or anything like that.
And he sort of like, you see him readjust himself, and then you just hear a trickle, 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 trickle as he sort of like urinates up against.
Gulliver's just sort of like look away and just sort of like look up in
and as he does it, he goes, been holding that in for a while, I'll tell ya.
I don't suppose you know where the closest entrance to the sewers is, do you?
So he sort of like goes, and then he sort of like wiggles a bit, and there's some rearranging, and he says, all the sewers lead into the sea. Are you going to find Sewer Jack?
I don't think he can be allowed to continue what he's done in your home, though. I mean, it's not going to be a very nice place for you to stay with all this blood and...
Oh, I'm safe.
Mums.
I'm safe, he says.
Is that because you're not blonde and young?
Well, yeah. Sewer Jack doesn't go after old men like me.
I wouldn't mind seeing him for my own eyes, though, and then I could say to my friends, I've seen Sewer Jack.
Wow. He says,
Where would I go if I wanted to see him? Catch the sight of those yellowy green eyes staring back at me and warning me.
well, he sort of like looks at you and says, well, he ain't going to go for you, because you're not blonde, Carrot Top.
I know, but I could still...
He goes, 5 silver pieces worth. Hope you enjoyed it. And he sort of like looks round at you all, and he says, would you like to stay for a bite to eat? He says,
no, thank you.
I've got,
we've already
and he sort of like reaches inside the folds of his cloth and sort of like brings out what appears to be sort of like a quarter, maybe an eighth of a chunk of bread. And he says, I've got this. I can pick the mould off if you want to share. And he says it to you all.
No, thank you.
He says, please yourself. And he sort of like takes a bite, goes, and tries to think. And now, he says, get out of my alley.
You have a very nice home.
Well,
Bye.
thank you. And, he says, as you all depart, he says, check under your beds tonight for Sewer Jack. And he turns.
If only that was so easy.
And he ushers you out of the alleyway.
We'll head back to the more upper class district of the thing.
Yeah,
you gates before they close up for the night.
You can sort of like make your way up to the gatehouse, and you sort of like get there, and the 2 guards are still on guard at either side, stood on the floor level, and they sort of like come back. You sort of like walk out, and one of them said, "Finish with her then."
Gulliver's just going to ignore that, and he's just going to say, "Good night."
Yeah, you sort of like say goodnight, and they sort of like snigger. And who's got the locket? I can't remember.
I think Gulliver has it again now.
Yeah, so just make sure it's on your character sheet somewhere. Yeah. So what would you like to do next?
I may have messed up your cameras, inwils. My cat stepped on the button that turned off my camera, and I turned it back on.
Oh my lord!
Okay, kill
Cat's
the cat.
No.
No, not on stream. You'll get banned.
Yeah.
Wait till I stream.
Pickles get banned. Pickles will be fine.
That'd teach it. Yeah. So are you going? I mean, it's 10 bells at the moment, but so you can. There's several things that you can do if you wish. You can go back to the Hairy Hobgoblin. You might decide to go back there to just discuss and pull everything together, and then probably return to your maybe decide on what might be a good plan for the next day. lines of inquiry that might want to be followed up, and then you can retire to your abodes and then be prepared for next time. So I'll put you back into the Hairy Hobgoblin. There you are. So you managed to get back, and of course the Hairy Hobgoblin's still open, and you probably wash your hands maybe, and sit
Hengist
once.
will definitely be washing his hands.
Yes, and you sit once more round the table.
He's called Sewer Jack. So that means he must be from the sewers. Because if he was from the docks, they would call him Dock Jack.
Bartleby, I'm assuming that the information that I gave to you earlier on, you haven't shared that yet. So.
Bartleby.
He's called Jack as well. So that means somewhere somebody must have known who he was. Because they wouldn't just call him Jack if his name was Bob or Glenn or Bartleby, would they?
Jack is a bit of a common name. They might not have known his name. It's a tale, a story, not really a real person.
So the sewers must be pretty big then for a human to go and live in. Perhaps there might be more than one person down there.
What, all called Jack?
Well, there's lots of people in the slums, perhaps. Some of them have sort of like fled or been pushed out of the slums and still want to stay in Lindo, but...
Oh, it's not going to be as easy as I thought then, Hengist, if there's going to be a whole load of Jacks down in the sewers. I just thought, nobody would be down in the sewers and, we would come across one and it would be him, but you know more about the city than I do. I didn't realise it was going to be full of Jacks.
Gulliver, you had a talk with me about believing everything I hear. And one of the things in the slums is many people like to tell fancy stories, especially while intoxicated. The fancier, the more flourish, the better. I think this could be something that is true, that a story has come to life to stop terrorizing children and to kill young women. Or it could be something else more easily explainable. I think that we should go tomorrow and talk to Tom, the man who found the body, not this old man, and see if his perspective gives us any new insights. We could return the locket to Marigold, hopefully, and bring what joy that might bring to her after cleaning it up a little bit. But I don't know. I'm hesitant to believe a decade-old story is the truth.
Sure, I agree, Bartleby, and maybe perhaps we could also check the houses around the alleyway, because if the lights were shining onto the alleyway from those houses, then maybe we could ask questions in them too and see if anybody else heard or saw anything.
I think the problem is that nobody likes us down there.
Well, Bartleby's there. People love Bartleby. Bartleby is everybody's great hope.
Well, they didn't seem to, from what he was saying, how Tom, well, maybe that was because Hengist was with him.
He didn't quite react well to Hengist's beautiful words.
I did try. I bought this cloak and everything.
You still sound like a poet.
Thank you, Bartleby.
Yeah, well, I like
I
it.
think.
They're down. The people in the streets, they prefer simple language. None of the flowers and grace that you bring.
I think we need to have another chat with Marigold as well. Do you know where we'd be able to find her, Marigold?
Maybe she's at the glove shop.
She said that she sold flowers down in the slums. So perhaps we could check the main thoroughfares down there. Like you see her.
This necklace obviously belonged to her. Not her, but her rose. And it will give her some comfort to have it back. But you could also ask Bartleby, who gave it to Rose?
That is a good question. You might get Marigold talking more about her daughter.
It clearly could have been a robbery that went very wrong.
I don't think they've got anything, to be honest with you.
Well, she's got this necklace that's probably more than some people have done there.
It's not very good.
It still would have fetched a couple of a silver or two.
I don't think you'll even get that. It's very poorly made.
Maybe the chain itself, 1 silver, but...
Basil comes across and sort of like changes and tops up wine and moves plates away. And he sort of says...
Basil, you're always good for a story.
Yes? How can I help?
Why don't you join us if you've got a spare minute? If the bar's not busy, sit down and we'll buy you a...
Well, I don't know about sitting down in my own establishment, Master Gulliver. How can I help? What would you like a story about?
It may be silly, but we were wondering whether or not you heard a tale of Sewer Jack.
Who's been filling your mind with stories about Sewer Jack? And he sort of like calls over to one of the maids and says, Gulliver here, what's the story about Sewer Jack? And she sort of like burst out laughing and says, Gulliver, Sewer Jack is one of those made up things. He's not real. He hides underneath children's beds and pops out at night. I mean...
So he doesn't mutilate blonde young women?
Mutilate? He asks as if he doesn't quite understand what the word means.
Kill.
No! Sewer Jack doesn't kill people. He goes, bah, and scares the children. Do you know, even my great-great-grandma used to be told about Sewer Jack. Sewer Jack will come and eat you if you don't eat your greens. Not close the door properly. Keep your windows closed at night. Otherwise, Sewer Jack will be coming in. Nah, these are... Oh, Gulliver, don't let people fill your head with nonsense like this. Not Sewer Jack. And, the barmaid runs over and says, Sewer Jack can get you, Bartleby. It's like, Gulliver, ha ha ha, like that. And he sort of like says, if you want to know about Sewer Jack, I could ask me grandmother to come down and talk to you. She's always good for a story, especially when she's tucking you into bed.
Does she know about Sewer Jack?
Well, everyone knows about Sewer Jack. He sort of like turns to the establishment and says, Oi, people, put your hand up if you've heard about Sewer Jack. And everybody sort of like laughs and puts their hand up in the air. And he's sort of like, somebody says, my mom used to scare me about Gulliver Jack, and it just sort of like goes on, and there's lots of sort of like laughter, and you can hear them sort of like recounting the tales about Sewer Jack, what happened, and how their parents sort of like mentioned that Sewer Jack. It sounds like, from what you get from the tavern, it really does sound like a child's story. Like, Sewer Jack will come out from underneath the beds. And you get this feeling that this story is perhaps not decades old. It sounds as if it could be a lot older than decades.
Centuries.
Well, yeah.
Once Basil goes, Gulliver will say, I still think it's him. Who else could climb that wall? If it wasn't for, who else would have eyes, yellowy green in colour, that shone back at the night?
I could climb that wall.
No, we've seen you climb. How are you?
Maybe the rope has climbed that wall. But Basil could climb that wall with a rope. Maybe another man could.
It's all about maybe it's a murderer who's kind of setting it up to make it look like he's Stuart Jack. I mean, the people in the slums. I'm not from the city, but they seem very superstitious folk. So maybe that is it. Maybe it's a good way to prey on the innocent lives of people who pretend to be a superstition going around killing people, and they're just disappearing back into the night.
Or maybe she was killed normally, and some of the feral dogs could have.
Well, if it's dogs, you need to talk to Gulliver, because at the moment he seems to like dogs. Everybody should have a dog, apparently.
And
Gulliver loves dogs.
The conversation dissolves away from the actual job and cascades into talking about dogs and animals. And then Gulliver talks once more about killing a giant scorpion with just one stone, almost like the biblical story of David and Goliath. And these stories get taller and taller as the night progresses. And then, quite naturally, Basil says that the place is going to be closed up, and you say bon farewell to each other, and you head back to your own establishment. And Hengist, you live up on the hill in your lovely gentry housing. Not estate, just
house. It's a very nice house.
It's a very, very nice house, and your manservant is there as well. And as you approach your house, this lady seems to be walking down the street, and she sort of like sees you heading towards your house, and she sort of like says, oh, she says, excuse me, kind sir, I wonder if you can help me.
Hengist will stop and say, yes, of course. How can I help you?
I've seemed to arrive before my companions, and my I am here with my lady, as in a maid, my lady in waiting, and we can't seem to get into the building. It's ours, and I have this key, and she brings out a key, but the door seems to be well and truly stuck. And I wonder, could you come and help me with it? And that will be where we leave it for tonight, since I was 30 seconds early. But I think
cliffhanger-ish.
I think start late, finish
late. Yeah, 30 seconds. So we will start off. Not next week, but the week after. We're starting off with Hengist and this fine lady who has approached you, and then we will see what happens, what you decide to do the next day to help Marigold find Rose's killer. And yeah, that seems like a good place to stop. So if you have been watching us on stream, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just need to swap Bartleby and
Oh, see, he's not but trouble, is he? Really?
I don't know. He just brings a cat with him, and then that's it. Yeah. So I hope if you're watching the stream, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's adventure. I hope you're enjoying the Mythras rule set as well. If you have them and you would like to listen to more Mythras content, then don't forget that the podcast comes out on the 1st of the month. It's called Mythras Matters,
And it does.
And it does. May your Mythras matter, as Lawrence Whitaker, who is the co-designer of the design mechanism, and the design mechanism sponsors me. So I'm eternally grateful for the support that they provide me. Yeah, so do go over and have a listen to the podcast when it comes live on, when is the 1st? Is it Monday or Tuesday?
No, it's Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes, it'll come live on Tuesday. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's stream. Please remember that does anybody have any announcements, by the way?
I do not.
No.
None for me.
Cool. Do remember that I will be back on tomorrow at 2 o'clock for some more Elder Scrolls Online. I'm 46. I've got 4 more levels to go
you
to
were getting
50.
50th today.
No, we had
part-timers.
Yeah, it's part-timers. Yeah, and yeah, so I will be back tomorrow. But until then, hope you have enjoyed the stream, and you can come back later to watch us play more.
We'll let you.
Not later as in today, but
later next week. Okay then, thank you so much for your support, and we will catch you all later. Until then, have fun.
Thank you.
Enjoy role playing, and we will say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.